Welcome to the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. 40Gs, G's que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo a huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos, empurgamos. Soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas. Welcome to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. Thank you guys for hanging with us, to all you LA Galaxy fans and all you La Cuna Galaxians. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalón. You can find my written work at Last Word on Sports and online at El Escudero de LA. Today, we'll be joined by a special guest, MLS Espanol and Sound Heart journalist, Niko Moreno, who will be here to help us preview LA Galaxy versus Seattle and dive deeper into the Sounders' form and current injury crisis. But before we do all that, let me bring you back El Gitano Perdido, my co-host, Anandita Kirana. ¿Cómo te sientes, papá? ¿Qué me cuentas? ¿Qué hay de nuevo?
¿Qué te cuento? A ver, tío. Pues mira, I've got a lot of emotions right now for this weekend, Robert. A lot. Let me explain. So I'm a little nervous because, as you know, there is a big game this weekend. Yes, the Galaxy is also a big game. The derby, or not the derby, but just our long-standing rivalry against the Sounders. That's always a big game. But there is this little game in the city of Manchester this weekend where the Light Blues of Cité are taking on my team, the Gunners, and that is going to be a title decider, and it is a must-not-lose game. So I'm nervous, Papa. I'm nervous. It's a big game. It's a huge game. It's probably one of the biggest games in Arsenal's history in God knows how long. So I'm shaking my knees on that one. So that I'm nervous for that. I'm also just like
I'm debating like this whole time, like, you know how like in the cartoons you have like the devil and then the angel, like this whole time you were breaking it down for me. Like I was like, should I be a supportive friend and co-host, or should I just doo-doo all over Arsenal right now? And I still haven't decided, but go ahead, keep on telling me.
But I'm also like a little nervous too, or I don't know what, but like, you know, I'm hearing it's going to rain this weekend. And so are we going to have to bust the ponchos out? Like, I know we're going to do a little tailgate, and I'm like, you know what, man, I wish it was just like a bright sunny day, but you know what? I don't know if Mother Nature is going to cooperate this weekend. So we'll see on that. And, but then again, I'm excited because you know why, Robert? Amazingly, this is my first home game this season. My first.
Wow.
During the regular season, if you didn't realize, because remember, I couldn't be there for the Miami game, and then the last game I was out as well. So
it's a month into the season.
I'm excited to get back to the digs, but like I said, I'm a little upset that Mother Nature is not going to cooperate. So tengo muchas emociones, pero bueno, eso es lo que te cuento, papá.
I keep hearing it might clear up, like, you know, maybe like a light drizzle in the evening. Like we'll get most of the hard rain in during the daytime. During the daytime. Shout out Pinche Jalapeno, shout out Raúl. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Y claro, vamos Galaxy, of course. You know what? Put some shame on this man, guys. Like in the chat, tell him like he didn't do his thing. He knows he didn't do his thing, and he's just putting it off right now.
I've just got so many emotions, but like I said, I'm so nervous for the damn match. But anyways, so let me do the housekeeping.
Oh, y'all better win. Y'all better win.
Well, we have you on record with C Miles, with good old Christian Miles, my fellow Gooner. We have you on record, Papa, that you would rather us than the Scouses or
I stand by it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I stand by it. Yeah, of
so
course.
there you go.
No, that's what I'm saying. Y'all better win, man. Because like, honestly, like, I mean, I know you won't want to hear this term, but if y'all bottle it again, like, I'm gonna be upset for you guys and then at you guys, because that means the city's won it again, or even worse, Liverpool might have a chance at it, and then
That's we need to avoid that. We need to avoid that at all
yeah,
costs.
like
But
Oh,
anyways,
definitely.
we got some LA Galaxy to talk to, right? And we got some shout outs and announcements. So let me get through the
and your thing
and my thing. So bueno, primero, obviously you can always follow, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana.
Yes.
You guys can find us on all of our socials. I know we've posted some fun clips lately. I hope you caught that last one. C Miles was awesome in that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, go ahead and exactly. Go ahead and check us out on all the socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. Pretty simple tag there. And then of course, if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, welcome, and we're really, really happy to see you and have you. If you're coming back, welcome back, guys. It's nice to have you back. We love the chat, so it's always good to have chat. And if you want to help this little channel out, like we always say, we're trying to grow this little channel. We just started this season, so we're almost at 150 subs actually, which is amazing. But if you haven't subbed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give us the like and share. All that good stuff. And then of course, like we haven't really talked about this, but all you guys are in chat right now, and we interact in chat. Go ahead and type in chat, obviously, any comments or just like have a conversation with us. But if you're listening to this or seeing this on playback, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought, or if you have an answer to a lot of the questions that Rob's going to ask in chat today, go ahead and put that in the chat or in the comments, and we will definitely get back.
Don't be shy
and respond to you. Yeah, we don't bite. And then Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana.
There it is.
Pues vámonos, Roberto, y a los shoutouts and announcements.
Well, guys, first and foremost, let me say hello to the wifeys. Thank you for supporting wifeys. We really do appreciate all you put up with to have us do this humble little pod. So, if anything, for our wives' sake, go ahead and subscribe, and that way there's like, that way I can show her, be like, see, the people are subscribing to the show, Yeah. So anyway, thank you for both wifeys, and yes, they will be in Austin with us, and they will also be playing SADA, See Ananda, Drink Ananda, and also he is in training for Austin. So if you see him at his first home game of the year, SADA, See Ananda, Drink Ananda. Ooh, Raul says the next game is Pico Rivera Deep, Johnny Perez, and the Roll Dons.
That's a great point.
Yo, Pico Rivera, what's up? Of course, you know what? Speaking of Pico Rivera and other cities around the Los Angeles area, where are you guys listening to this chat? Shout out here from Glendale, and I know Ananda's hanging out in Ontario over there. Yep. So of course, guys, whatever happens in the Seattle match, we'll bring you the match reaction on Monday at 9 p.m. So look for that on Monday. All right. And then again, SADA, See Ananda, Drink Ananda. Let's get into the shout outs. Happy birthday to former Galaxy goalkeeper and current goalkeeper coach Matt Reese. He played for the Galaxy for 4 years. He made 51 appearances. Then he went off to New England, where he had a long career. But while he was with the Galaxy, he scored himself a CONCACAF Champions Cup, an MLS Cup, a Supporter Shield twice, and a U.S. Open Cup. Shout out to him. Happy birthday. You know what? Once a G, always a G. And of course, he's a G right now, and making sure that we get ever so closer to the 6th cup. Happy retirement to Romain Alessandrini, aka Alessandrini. The man's handsome. What can I say? The French winger spent 3 years with Los Angeles and was a huge fan favorite. I mean, he was definitely one of mine. Played 61 games for the club, 55 of those starts, scored 24 goals, and had 22 assists. You know what? The knock on him, though, and if you ask some people here, they'll say that he was injury prone, and so that's why it wasn't a longer term relationship. But you know what? Just to back that up, only played 5 games in 2019, only 26 in 2018. But his last game he did ball out, and he had 2 assists in 49 minutes in his return from injury in the Western Conference semifinal, in that loss to the law across the city. So he went out a true G, getting a couple assists against LAFC. So good on him. Hope he enjoys his retirement and whatever he's going to get up to. So, chat, you know what? I did bring up his injury record. Go ahead and let us know. How do you feel about Alessandrini's time in Los Angeles? Was it fruitful? Could he have done more? Did he leave too soon? Go ahead and let us know. We want to hear all about it. Hey, profe. Ooh, in and out. That's fire. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying that. So anyway, let us know what you guys think about Alessandrini. Congratulations to former LA Galaxy midfielder Adam Saldana, the pride of Panorama City. We got Pico Rivera. Now we're mentioning Panorama City. He just signed with Norwegian club KFUM Kameratin Oslo. He has a contract till 2025. The newly promoted club saw fit to bring in the pride of Panorama City. His contract with the Galaxy expired in the offseason. I remember I asked Greg last year a couple of times about him, and you know, he just was lamenting that he couldn't give him more game time, and that's probably why Adam, you know, went on to sign here to try to get some game time for this newly promoted club. It's good to see him signing, and hopefully we get to see him develop further. He was named Los Dos Galaxy 2, now Ventura County FC 2023 Defender of the Year. And speaking of Los Dos, aka Ventura County, a guy that made his debut earlier in the year for them, Mathis Albert, is turning heads. The LA Galaxy Academy player is 14 years old. He's an attacking player. He plays a forward winger, and he's been named one to watch at the 2024 Generation Adidas Cup, and also the Rising 11 for that tournament. So good luck to Albert and the entire LA Galaxy Academy at the GA Cup. He's definitely one to watch. There's been some chatter about him potentially going off to Europe. There's been some people that have saying, hey, it's not true. So you know what, if we do in fact get to see him line up for the first team, they got a good one on their hands. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see him if he stays around for another year or two. Harbor Miller, 16, and he was playing in the first team in the Coachella Valley Invitational. So hopefully we get to see him with the first team and see what he can do. Good luck, guys. Good luck, Galaxy Academy out there at the GA Cup. Speaking of Cup competitions, is the next XG to play in the US Open Cup here. We brought you in the last pod that Sasha Kleshin had suited up for one game at the very least with Des Moines Menace, and the guy did his thing. He had an assist and he scored the decisive penalty to beat Capo FC 5-4 in that penalty shootout, and it advanced to the next round, which brings us to the next G, who by all intents and purposes, it looks like we'll be playing for Des Moines Menace. AJ De La Garza, ex-Galaxy champion, looks to have signed on for the next round for Des Moines Menace. So good luck to him. I don't know if that means that he'll be suiting up next to Sasha, if both of them will be playing, but at the very least, from this text message and what Des Moines Menace says on their socials, AJ De La Garza coming out for him. And speaking of the US Open Cup, Galaxy 2, still trying to get used to calling them Ventura County FC. Yeah. That's like one of those Twitter and X things right here. Okay, so VC FC, they'll be playing in the second round of the US Open Cup on Wednesday, April 3rd at 7:30 against Irvine Zeta. They just defeated Irvine Zeta 2 in the first round of that competition to go ahead and go forward. So it'll be interesting to see if at some point, you know, Des Moines Menace crosses paths with VC FC. Of course, their next game is in the league on Sunday, March 31st at 5 p.m. They'll be playing Tacoma Defiance, or, you know, basically Seattle's second team. Yeah. So go ahead and go out and support them if you get a chance. Yes, Fondo. Anybody who's going to be at the game on Saturday, definitely come by Lot 13. We're going to be out there with, like Ananda said, with some family, and you'll probably hear us sing Fondo a lot. You know, and you know, helping Ananda train for SADA. So today, the LA Galaxy announced a first of its kind content collaboration with Vivo. Vivo, of course, is one of the largest media platforms in the world. They have tons of music. So through this partnership, 12 LA Galaxy players are going to curate an hour-long block of music videos. I can't wait to see what they come up with. And they'll personally introduce each of their chosen favorite music videos. We had some examples already. So apparently someone on the roster likes System of a Down, Chop Suey, someone else like Shaggy's Angel, and someone else likes Lil Baby Crazy. So I can't wait to see who picks what. Ananda, this one should interest you because you're all about Will Misselbrook and his adventures. So he said about this new venture, this marks the next step in personalized content with LA Galaxy, a harmonious fusion of soccer and music videos, showcasing the diverse tastes of our players in conjunction with Vivo's curatorial expertise and vast reach, which just means like they're trying to vibe on soccer and music, which is something that everybody's already been doing, but now they're making it official with Vivo. So I got to thinking, if the LA Galaxy was a song, what song would it be, Ananda?
Oh man,
chat, hit that up.
I'm gonna think about that one. I haven't even thought about that. It's something around what's a song around like a roller coaster ride? How about that? What's like a
roller coaster of love?
There you go. Well, not of love. Well, yeah, actually, no, it is. Totally La Tóxica.
Yeah, it is totally a roller coaster of love, man.
Totally.
It
yeah,
is
there you go.
Nothing but
there you go.
But yeah, I didn't come up with one myself, but I like that one. I like it. It is a love roller coaster, and no matter what happens, tienes que amar. Unbreakable by Joe Pants. Yes, I mean, Unbreakable. Absolutely good call out, Profe Alex. So you know what? If you're sitting there thinking about what your song is, go ahead and throw it in chat, and then we'll call it out here. So the Galaxy has gone from game to tough game, and after Seattle, no matter what happens there, they'll have the next game after that against LAFC away. So another edition of El Tráfico. Shout out Miggy Gris, aka Mike Gray, for coming up with that one. Of course, we always got to call you out, man, because brilliance. So if you're not going to be at BMO and you aren't going to be, at your own house watching this one, go ahead and go out to this watch party at the Digs at Galaxy Park, sponsored by Modelo. So that's going to be on April 6th for the first El Tráfico of the year. Corner of the Galaxy is also going to be doing a live show there before the match. So go ahead and go to Corner of the Galaxy socials and web pages for more info on that.
Featuring our very own Alex Ruiz as well.
Hey, there we go. El Profe Alexinho, always dialed in. So if you're not going to be at that watch party, go ahead and check out Absolution Brewing for their watch party on the 6th at 4:30. Go ahead and get there early because there will be a pop-up shop with FUSA Labs, FU Labs, FU Labs.
FUUSA, Robert. You know
yeah.
the deal.
Yeah, someone's going to clip that for sure. FBI is going to come to my door. It is what it is. So no, FU Labs will be in the house and they'll be doing their pop-up shop. So go ahead and go out and support them. Like I said, one of my favorite t-shirts is definitely that LA t-shirt that I caught from them. So go ahead and go support them. Yeah. And of course, if you haven't made it out to a G's Run LA event, we implore you to go out and get together with your fellow G's. Their next event is going to be on April 13th at 9 a.m. at the Rose Bowl. They're running it back, literally, for those of you who could not make the first go around. Of course, this event is open to walkers and runners. And then the next event for April will be April 27th at Absolution Brewing, who we just told you about is going to be having that watch party. So go ahead and hit up G's Run LA if you need more information. Hopefully we see you out there. I'm going to try to hit up that Rose Bowl event. You know what? Hopefully the homie Drake is out there to save my life again. But if not, you know what? Just a lot of water and, just a slow trot. Slow and steady wins the race, right? So, of course, one of the Niners, Jamie from 1-2 Threads, puts that G's Run event G's Run LA event on. He's one half of the Nyanos from 1-2 Threads, and they'll be doing their 7th Blue, White, and Gold pop-up at Common Space LA on April 14th from 12 to 6. Full vendor list is now on the screen here. If you're watching, if you're listening, you'll have some fine vendors like 1-2 Threads, Moving Silence, It's a Pot Lady, FU USA, Sad Girl Sisters, Galaxy Art Fire, Code Red Rugs, Gudino Art, Galactic Outpost, Stevian's Custom Designs, Girl with Beads and Gems, Luis Villa Arte, Bower Prince, Cousin Fail, ACB, The Outlaws, Galaxians, LA Riot Squad, Mimi's Birria, Chef Bibi Mendoza, and Footpool America. I didn't want to slight anybody by not calling them out this time, so I wanted to go ahead and read the entire list. Ooh, City of Angels by the Distillers. Yep. Raul Garcia, thank you so much for chiming in with that one. So yeah, go ahead and hit up that Blue, White, and Gold pop-up. It's always a fun event. I always end up spending too much money, and so I'm gonna try really hard not to do that. But of course, everyone's probably gonna have some fire, and it's gonna be really hard not to. And then evidence of that is the homie that we just called out, Luis Vela Arte. He just dropped this Joy Division T-shirt. And how are we not going to cop that, man? Like, honestly, like you go and you have the best of intentions. Like, I mean, I'm going to tell my wife I have the best of intentions, but then I get there and I see stuff like this. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Or you can see stuff like this, Rob, which is shout out Gudino Art, which we have a couple of his pieces. This one is some heat that he just dropped. I think today. I think he just announced it. This fire JP Joseph Painsil on the Unbreakable
one.
Yep, I believe it's called Through Space and Time. It's actually available in the shop right now, but I am sure he's gonna have this fire print. I've already got a couple. I don't know if you guys can kind of see in the back there. I've got a Beckham one there and the future of Los Angeles, Jalen Neal right there above my right shoulder. The Truth. So he's got some fire stuff, man. So definitely check it out. Shout out to all the artists, but in particular, man, that's some heat. I mean, Rob, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask. For,
I loved it. I loved it, man.
I'm gonna have to ask for some allowance money here on this one.
Yeah, and we got to start getting this stuff signed by these gentlemen, because when they blow up and we're like, I have an original, blah blah blah, So
exactly.
So if you want to pick up the Joy Division shirt from Luis Villa, you can go ahead and get that at luisvillaart.com. If you want to get the new Joseph Painsil by Gudino Art, you can get that at gudinoart.com. Make sure to support your fellow Galaxy creators out there, the G's in the community. They're that are always doing it with they're always doing it with love too. So go ahead and support. You know what? This one is definitely another labor of love. If you're involved with Liga G, and you're not on one of the really really good teams, it really is like attrition. You really got to love the camaraderie and stuff like that to go ahead and go through. The season is now over for Lacuna Matata. We didn't end up in last place, so there that's good, but you know what? We're coming next season, so watch out. But like I said, we didn't make the playoffs. Our season is over, but the playoffs are going on right now. The wild card round was last night, Wednesday night. In the wild card round, Atomic won both games after coming from behind in game 1 to eliminate Elite FC. Walnut FC turned their tie around after losing the first match. They then went on a tear to beat Galacticos twice to advance. So that leaves us with the semifinals, which will be happening on Wednesday, April 3rd. Number 1, Mamba will be playing number 5, Walnut, and number 2, Rhino will be squaring off with number 3, Atomic. So go ahead and check Liga G out. The streams are actually really fun, man. So before I started getting into Liga G and stuff like that, I never thought that I would just sit and watch people play video games, but it's actually really fun. So go ahead and get out there, and I'm sure at least one Liga G-er in your life, and go out and support them. Ananda, any words of wisdom for the Lacuna Matadans out there that we're so we can grind on to next season?
In the words of Alex Ruiz, man, we're gonna be a problem next year. Look, he just put it up. We're gonna be a problem next season, and I'm gonna leave it at that as the gaffer.
Alexinho dialed in. Right on. We will get him next season. We will get him champ. All right. So the Athletic, they dropped their 2024 MLS GM Anonymous survey. That has a variety of questions ranging from who will win MLS Cup, who will win the Supporter Shield, the best executive, best signing of the winter, and the best signing of the winter goes to the LA Galaxy's Joseph Paintsil. He took first place in that vote with 10 executives or GMs voting for him as the best signing in the winter or the last signing window. Riqui Puig made a couple of appearances as well. He scored third in most talented player, not named Messi, and fourth in best midfielder. So congratulations to him. And while we're on the subject of Riqui, aka Pretty Riqui, aka the Prince who was promised, aka Little Jimmy Neutron, should Galaxy fans be worried, Ananda? I mean, we talked about it a little bit with Eddie.
It's funny that I think because these comments, because we're going back to those comments that he made, right? It's funny because I actually listened to the whole thing and I saw the whole context of the interview, right, or the comments, and he was talking about that he was making those comments, but he also said that he wants to stay with the team, he wants to do well here, and then and then at that point, if he feels like he's good enough and talented enough, he wants to take his talents to Europe. Like, it's funny because I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, I see that as ambition, right? Not disloyalty necessarily. Again, just seeing the context in totality of all the comments together. Because I don't know, like maybe if he didn't have that ambition, I don't know if I would want a player without that kind of. I mean, I'm sure like all of our players would like to go to Europe. I mean, if you recall, like I was just listening to Corner of the Galaxy, and they just made a really good point. Like I think Jossie a while ago, he would have loved the call from a team in the Premier League, but it just never happened for him, right? So I think all of our players need to have that level of ambition. I don't see it as disloyalty. I just see it as ambition, and I think that's okay.
Well, Greg agrees with you. So for those of you guys not in the know, Riqui recently had an interview with ABC Español from Spain. It was a video interview, and in that he talked about just like Ananda said, his ambition, and he said, and I quote, "We are in talks with the Galaxy for a contract extension, but personally and in terms of ambition, I would like to return to Europe." And that's the part everybody kind of like freaked out about. But he said as well, like Ananda said, however, I must also say that I am feeling very comfortable here. He also said something else in the interview, which I really kind of enjoyed, which is, the feeling that he gets here is going to be hard to replicate. So like he's okay for the moment. So like I said, Greg agrees with you, Ananda. He mentioned that a young player should have ambitions to go and play at the highest level in Europe. He also mentioned that they are working on a contract extension. For those of you that are worried about Riqui leaving, they're working on tying him down to a little bit more time. Of course, that also gives him a little bit more leverage in negotiations if he does seek a move in the future. So for Greg, that shows him that the player is motivated and he wants to continue to grow in his career. And like you said, he said that all his players should have that ambition. But for the moment, Riqui is here to help us build and win. So don't get scared, LA Galaxy fans. Like, he's not leaving, at least not immediately. But let us know what you think. Do you think it's just a contract extension strategy, like a ploy, or do you think he's really looking to leave? Guys, go ahead and let us know. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, as the season rolls on, and how well the Galaxy do, what these contract negotiations look like. So stay tuned. We'll have a little bit more for you guys on that one. But Ananda, what do you think on this one?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The one thing that I thought of too is, this contract extension. I think that's another sign of a healthy front office, Robert. Remember, contract extensions also protect the player's value. So in case, let's say I believe he's signed through 2025. So he's got this year, next year, and then the extension would be thereafter. So if he does want to leave and, after 26 or 27, we're going to protect his value. And like we were talking about last time, if he plays well, if he has a good season, a good couple of seasons, and helps us win silverware, his transfer value is going to shoot up, right? I mean, even right now, you, myself, and Eddie, we're talking about like 10 to 15 million. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but it sounds reasonable, right?
He's valued at 12.
Per transfer market?
Yeah, so he's on the list of most expensive MLS players, so, and he's valued at 12 million.
Yeah. So again, you could you could see his transfer value shoot up to a Thiago Almada even type, right? After he had that killer season in Atlanta, especially if he's going to be on a title winning team or a Supporter Shield winning team, or even League Cup winning team, right? So again, just smart piece of business, I think. So yeah, like I said, I think it's really good on the front office's part as well to protect his value.
Yeah. Well, like Ananda said, this is going to be good, if anything, for the Galaxy later when they do have those conversations with whatever team, decides to try to pick Riqui up. I mean, I'm sure there's teams already that are trying to pick him up. So I think again, this gives him a little bit of leverage in negotiations. So it was interesting to see, in that MLS GM. There was a question on would Thiago Almada go for as much as Miguel Almiron, who went for 27 million. I don't think Ricky's gonna go for anywhere close to that, but you know what, I mean, who's to say that he doesn't ball out, get the Galaxy their next star, and at that point it's really just hey, this guy just won this trophy, let's go ahead and try to leverage him and get the maximum value for him.
Yeah, exactly. So hey guys, we're just waiting right now for Niko to join us. I think we're having a little bit of technical issues, but as we're waiting for him, I know we're trying to kind of work some stuff here behind the scenes. I mean, Robert, just kind of switching gears for a second, just thinking about the Seattle game. I mean, what do you, just a quick feeling, or maybe just one word expression of how you're feeling? How are you feeling coming to this game? Because I know there's been a few things kind of bandied around this week, which we'll talk about with Niko. Seattle they're adding to the injury list. The Galaxy are on a roll. I mean, how are you feeling, Papa, going into this?
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Awesome. There's really not a better time to go ahead and go get this win against Seattle, which they have not gotten since 2018. So it's the time. So I think we have Niko here with us, so here to help us preview that opportunity, that big opportunity that the Galaxy have to take points off of Seattle for the first time since 2018. He's a journalist from Seattle, Sounder at heart, and MLS Espanol. Please welcome to the show, Niko Moreno. Niko, how are you? How are you feeling? And welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be on with you guys. Sounder at heart, MLS, Pulso Sports. I've been doing this for about 13 to 14 years, covering the team. Just excited to be on in LA, nonetheless. Thank you for the invite. Just ready to take the tough questions. Seattle is not at their best form, so I'm expecting some tough questions from you guys. But you know what? I'm excited, ready to go. So let's do it.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah, you kind of gave us a little preview into your recent career and how you are around the league and stuff like that. But first off, one thing I noticed in your profile is you had that Colombian flag up there very proudly. So welcome to the show, parce. And that made me think of automatically El Pibe. So when El Pibe was doing his thing back in the day, were you watching him in the league? Did you go ahead and did he capture your imagination?
Oh, all the time, man. I mean, I was the guy with the action figure of El Pibe, Leonel Alvarez. That was me growing up. He was the guy that made all of us slower but creative guys feel like we had a shot. You know what I mean? Throughout my whole time in Colombia, and then once I moved to the States, started playing soccer. Wasn't the fastest, but I was quick up here, creative, trying to move, and I just try to emulate El Pibe, try to emulate the Riquelmes of the world. But that's kind of where I kind of grabbed all my soccer knowledge, soccer love, was with the guy with the beautiful hair.
Did you ever rock the hair yourself? Did you ever try to grow it out?
I did not, not his, but I did try to do the Higuita hair. So Higuita is
Ooh.
another one of those guys that, if your audience
Solo.
doesn't know, El Loco, the
Yes.
guy that just did things differently
Yes.
in between the three poles, right? He was the goalkeeper that did that escorpion, got out, did his thing. And I did have the mullet, the
Nice.
Colombian Joe Dirt. I mean, I did have it with the curls. Yes, that was me. I did try to emulate the Rene Gita hair back in the day.
Oh man, well we got to see a picture of that at some point. I don't know.
You
I don't know
have
if
that.
you.
We'll get that out there for you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely go ahead and post that. We'll go ahead and get that one for evidence later. You're like, oh look, he's got the hair. But
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you about, because Colombia va a estar aquí en los Estados Unidos para la Copa América.
Claro.
Just like all the other teams from CONMEBOL, and of course we have teams from CONCACAF this year. So this is going to be a grand old tournament. The odds for Copa America dropped today, and you know what? Colombia has a 6% chance of winning the tournament, just like the USA. Ecuador, where my parents are from, where my wife is from, has a 5% chance. But it's no surprise that the Argentina has 30% chance of winning this tournament here. What are your thoughts on these odds here? Does Colombia have a 6% chance, or do you think it's more or less?
I think it's more, man. I mean, this is like something I would do, and I'm not the greatest magician, so I'll tell you right now. My son, my daughter, they ask me about like equations, percentages, and I just don't know anymore. That's who I'm guessing did some of these percentages, because Colombia hasn't lost the game in 21 matches. They
Hey, there
look
we go.
very, very good. They just put up some top-notch performances against España, Romania, and there is a lot of balance there. There's a lot of young talent, some quality players like Jasser. There's some experienced guys like Cordova, James. I mean, this seems to be a team that's just very balanced when it comes to the age component, which tends to be somewhere where good tournament teams have balance at. So with a guy like Nestor that seems to understand how to read games, how to play them out, plus the talent, I think we're beyond the 6% by far. Actually, I would put Brazil below Uruguay, because this Brazil of today is not the Brazil of old. Vinicius is not the guy that he is for Real Madrid with Brazil. You could ask anybody that, and they'll tell you the same thing. I think Brazil has been kind of a mess between the coaches situation and the infrastructure. So I would put Uruguay above Brazil, and then after that, then Colombia will come in. But these guys, I don't know how they ran the numbers. I'm not sure how they did it, but I don't agree with it. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, so do you agree with the favorite, Argentina, to win the whole thing at 30%?
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime you got the World Cup winners, you got Leo, you got this squad that with Scaloni just happened to finally put it all together. You saw little things here and there. Now with Scaloni in head of it, he kind of just put it all together. I feel like they're the best squad. They have the experience. They have the talent. Yeah, I'm okay with them being number one. That's for sure.
Well, you mentioned Messi. Obviously, who would have known he would come to MLS? But even before he came, there was a league. You mentioned you've been doing this for 13 years. So what was the league like when you started, and how did you start covering the league?
Well, the league wasn't as globalized as it is today. It wasn't as talented as it is today. I have been for the last 6 years an ambassador for MLS, saying that this league is the biggest showcase in America. And I got some heat, and I've been in Argentina, in Uruguay, in Colombia, in Ecuador, radio stations, TV stations, taking the heat, robo-doping like Muhammad Ali to all these questions about why I was this sucker, saying all this wildness. And today, you see the best prospects in South America here, from
Right.
Mosquera, from Federico now with Miami, from Gabriel Peck with the LA Galaxy. I mean, there's all sorts of new prospects from South America that back in the day they would either be in Europe or they would be in Mexico. Now they're here. So I feel like I've got a little bit of say in telling people this is the biggest showcase in America. So I've been doing that long.
You,
Just to put that in kind of the perspective of people. So it's been growing, it's been getting better, soccer wise, talent wise. I've always known that US has the infrastructure to bring something different to this three continents, and they've done it. They've done it right.
and now you have the benefit of saying, pues yo te dije. I told you it was gonna go.
Claro,
I told you it was gonna go down like that, right?
claro.
So how did Sounder at Heart start? Like, how did your association with them? Like, how did that whole thing? ¿Cómo se desarrolló todo?
Claro, no, that's a great question. I actually started in ESPN Deportes Seattle, which was a thing back in the day. This was a radio. I submitted a article about who would win the Super Bowl between the Giants and the Patriots. And I mean, I'm going way off of the soccer, so I'm sorry for your fan base that doesn't follow football, but that's how I got into it. I submitted an article saying that the New England Patriots were going to beat the very good New York. I mean, I'm sorry, that the New York Giants were going to beat the very good, undefeated Randy Moss, Tom Brady, Patriots, and that got me like 15 minutes on radio. But the guy before me that was going to be talking about Liga MX didn't show. So they were like, hey, do you follow Liga MX? And I was like, yeah, I mean, enough. So then they brought me on. I talked about Liga MX, had some conversations, then did my part about the NFL and the Super Bowl. And at the end of the time, they were like, you want to do an internship here with ESPN Deportes? I said, sure, let's get to it. And then after that, I did 3 years of radio with ESPN Deportes, did a lot of Sounders, did some Seahawks, did the every weekend show about all things sports, from Mariners to the Sounders and Seahawks. And I just got to it. Eventually, I got some sort of recognition and, I don't know, a following, if you will. And that's when Sounder at Heart approached me and they were like, hey, we really like your stuff. Would you be willing to come on with us? We're going to give you, this and that and the other if you come with us. And I did. I left radio to be with Sounder at Heart. And that led me to MLS ES and other opportunities within MLS realm, if you will.
Speaking of those other opportunities, what other ventures are you into besides Sounder at Heart and besides MLS Español? And then for those of the folk out there that want to follow a little bit more closely, where can they find you on the socials?
Yeah, so I do a Thursday show with Soccer Down here in Atlanta. That's a 30-minute segment where I bring in the Western Conference perspective to the East. We do a lot of things. We talk about breakdowns. We talk about juice boxes, which is the percentages if you want to put a little bit of money into certain games. We do a lot of stuff in SDH, so definitely follow them. I'm right now doing a project with Soccer Bar with Diego Cora, John Rojas. That's every Monday and Thursday. We break down in Spanish the entire league, every game, what happened, the highlights, the narratives, everything that you want to know about MLS in Spanish. We break that down Mondays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. So definitely it's one of the things that I'm currently doing, something that's going to be probably one of my biggest projects. SDH every Thursday, and then Pulso Sports with me. We bring down in YouTube channel all of the things that have to do with the Sounders, sound bites, breakdowns. We do after the 90-minute breakdown with some of the notable voices of this area in terms of what's going on with the Sounders. And with Sounder Hard, I'm still doing articles. I'm still doing some features where I will go down in the deep with some of these Latino players here in Seattle, right? You can only get so much out of a scrum. You can only get so much out of a day-to-day interview. What I do, I try to do exclusive, try to go deeper, dive into what these players are feeling, thinking, doing, where they come from, and I put it down on Sounder Heart. So that's just some of the things that I'm working on right now.
Man, you have a full plate. Woo.
Yeah.
Trabajadores, parce. Right.
Yeah.
Like
and guys in the chat, you guys can see Niko's, where you can find him there, his at, and for the audio listeners, if you guys seeing it on playback, it's at El Rolo NWNW. So you guys can go check him out right there. But Niko, just to, let's talk about the Sounders a little bit. But before we get to the on the pitch stuff, so unlike you and Robert, I'm not a journalist. I wasn't in journalism school or anything like that. But in a former life, I was actually a brand manager, doing brand work for a top Fortune 100 company. So when I saw something from Seattle earlier this year, speaking of brand, right? It actually, speaking of Sounder at heart, even as a non-Seattle fan, I was actually really interested in this, and it spoke to me. It spoke to my heart, actually, which was your rebrand. I actually, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. I actually, I was very impressed, to be honest, by your rebrand and sort of just the repositioning of what your team means to, especially your community, right? So, and it's not just me, if I look at just sort of what the press was saying just around this, around this venture, even from ESPN, I'm just going to read you this quick quote. They said that the Seattle Sounders wrap their arms around their history that is rooted in its city, has a culture that is not manufactured but built by its community. That is what guided this rebrand, and the extensive fan engagement throughout comes clearly in the final product. For maybe the first time ever, an MLS club has rebranded from a place of pride. And it's interesting too, in that context, we've seen a lot of failed experiments, like Chicago, if you remember, in 2019, they had a massively failed rebrand. So I'm just curious, man, just from your perspective, I mean, what do you think of the rebrand? And from your POV, do you think it's been well received by the fans and the larger community?
That's a tough question, man, because that's probably one of the subjects where I'm not someone's favorite, because I'm pretty honest, and you will find this out whether it's today and you bring me on later on down the road. But although I believe that I understand where the new this new rebrand came from, and the ability to just say, hey, this logo says Sounders, I'm still a little bit old school. And I do want to see a little bit more of that soccer aspect, where there is the Sounders FC in the middle of that beautiful label. Maybe make it a little bit more warm. It feels a little cold to me personally. But I know, I understand. I was there for the huge event that the Sounders threw out. And I get that they want to be more with the times, right? They're trying to get modern. This history that has been relevant in this community since 74, right? And you want to bring that out and just allow it to be more usable for whether it's streetwear or your phone case or the background on your laptop, whatever it is. So they did a lot of studying. They put a lot of resources into where we're going to rebrand. And that's how they came up with everything. Love the Orca, love everything else about the connection between the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, and the Sounders. But again, I am someone who's true to myself, true to my identity. And because I am Suramericano, I am a little bit old school about a lot of stuff. So I do wish that it was a little bit more in your face about this is the Seattle Sounders. And in today's day and age, we kind of want to put a symbol that says whatever brand you want it to be. That's all you need to put is a little sign, is a little letter, and it should say this is us. But for me, I just kind of wanted a little bit more soccer driven, and that's what I'm not getting at it. But
interesting.
But I do understand it, and I feel like it's gotten a positive reaction for the most part. There are some of those who believe, like me, that there are some things missing, including the kid. The kid that is not maybe as popular as the Bruce Lee kid, which you wouldn't expect out of your 50-year kid. But I just would have done it differently. Some of the designs, some of the colors. But again, this is a very honest, very candid Niko Moreno. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you I loved it when I don't. And, hold me to it. That's who I am.
We love the honesty though. That we hope to never bring you guys fluff out there, and that so we appreciate just the unfiltered version. I'm very traditionalist as well. Like I mean my tag is El Escudero because I believe in the crest, the badge. It needs to be like first and foremost above any player, above any executive. That should be the focus. And you know what? The fact is that some of these European clubs have been around for 100 years and maybe have done one rebrand in their entire history, right? And there are clubs in MLS that have done 3 already. There are rumors around the Galaxy maybe doing a rebrand last year, and that never materialized. But I think I think that they kind of got the wind of the people, like the feeling of the people who are kind of against it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the chat right now, Galaxy fans, is it time for a rebrand? Do you still like what we have right now, or is it time for an update? We're gonna leave that one with you guys. But speaking of the Galaxy now, they do have this match against your Seattle Sounders. Nanda asked me earlier, how do I feel about the game? Tell him in one word how I feel. And I said, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the Galaxy because they're playing at home. They're hot. They're full of confidence, and Seattle is not being Seattle right now. They're definitely not being Seattle right now. Plus, they have a bunch of injuries. So, before we get into this match, let me tell you where everybody is in the standings. After 5 games for Los Angeles, they're in second place in the West, a 2-0-3 record. They will look to stay unbeaten. They're one of 3 unbeaten teams in the West and one of 5 in the league. They're 6th in the Supporter Shield race with 1.8 points per game and just 2 points from the top spot. And then you have Seattle. They've only played 4 games this year. They've come back. They came back recently in their last game from 2 goals down, just like the Galaxy did against Sporting Kansas City. Only, unlike the Galaxy, who got that 3rd goal, they promptly scored the 2nd goal and then gave up the 3rd goal to San Jose to lose that match and remain winless there on their season. Their last place in the West with an 0-2-2 record. They're on 2 points. Niko, ¿qué les pasa? That's not Seattle. That's not the Seattle I know.
Yeah.
It's not the Seattle I know. At least not since the last 10 years, right? I mean, this has been a team that has gone through 4 MLS finals, has gone 2 cups, 1 CCL. But you're hot, we're not. That's nobody's going to doubt that, right? That's not my opinion, your opinion. That's just the reality. And although there is a caveat, people have a hard time differentiating excuses with circumstances. Seattle's dealing with circumstances. It's not an excuse to how poor they have been through 3 games, really, because they didn't play Philadelphia. But there's circumstances. The fact that this team has not had a full squad, they have not been able to have their DPs on the field, is a circumstance. I'm not making it up. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality. And because of that, we have not been able to see the full potential of the Seattle Sounders. However, I do believe that this team could be better. I do believe that you're going through the easiest part of your schedule. Austin FC is a mess. San Jose is a mess. You should have been able to get some points, and I'm talking about 3 on both of those, if not 1-1. And you got 1 against Austin and you got none against San Jose. It's unexcusable because San Jose has been struggling. They have nothing going for themselves. And regardless of you not having your best players on the field, I feel like Brian Schmetzer has not put players where they have succeeded in the past. We keep forcing this idea of Jordan Morris playing at the striker position, and he has not excelled there. I get that last season he had 13 goals at that position, but 4 of those came in 1 game. After that, do the breakdown, do the mathematics, divide it how you want. It's not ideal. And beyond the stats, you got to see the way a player takes on a role. And for you to be a striker, muchachos, you got to be a matador. You got to have a different type of chip in your brain where you miss the goal. I don't care. I'm going to go and I'm going to try to score 2. Unfortunately, Jordan doesn't have that. Finishing is not the guy's forte. It's not. He does a lot of good things for Seattle. He has done it. I appreciate him, and I know what he does well, and I feel like he's best equipped to be a winger with the ball at his feet, where he can get in rhythm, where he's getting 40, 50 touches on the ball. He should not be getting 20 and 17 and 24 touches of the ball. It's just not what's ideal for Jordan Morris' style of player. So because of that, and because of all the injuries, I just feel like Seattle hasn't been better than they should be. I feel like Brian Schmetzer has been a little bit reluctant to put players where they succeed, and therefore they are where we are now. Now, going to this game, we don't match up well with what the LA Galaxy do good. I spoke to Stefan Fry. You put it in your social media. It's not Niko Moreno saying it. Stefan Fry called the LA Galaxy the most lethal front 4 in MLS. And it's hard to argue with him because Joelish has gone 5 matches, 5 goals. Pencil looks like the fastest guy in MLS. Just call him Usain Bolt. I mean, the guy is unbelievable on the right side. On the left side, you guys got options. We go with Gabriel Peck. We stretch out the defense. We go with Fagundes. We bring a guy that's going to come in, take care of those inside channels. We allowed Aude to have those overlaps, and we just have a very good team offensively. Riqui Puig, whether it is the difference on the last name in the back of the jersey, he looks like a man, like a captain, like a guy that's a leader in this squad. And it's a difference from last year because we saw the talent, but I didn't see the leadership. This year, I see that. And the defensive issues, when Bergman comes back, Brugman, he's going to just solidify defensively this team because he's going to be that filter between that midfield and the back 4. So because of that, I have a hard time being very optimistic about this game. But because I am from here and you brought me to talk about the Seattle Sounders, I will say that the best case scenario is that this game is a draw and that Seattle pulls off a 2-2 feel-good draw. And I mean feel-good because your offense, which has been stagnant, bleak, and your biggest problem, maybe looks better because even though we're plagued with injuries, we just heard that Leo Chu's going to be out 3 to 5 weeks because of a tendon issue on his knee. Now, Brian Schmetzer has no other option but to put Jordan Morris on the left side. So maybe that puts players where they should be. Raul Ruiz, who we spoke to today, who is as confident as he has been in a year because he was relegated to the bench. He was relegated to play with the academy kids this preseason in Spain. He'd never played with the first team, but he's taking it upon himself to let soccer talk rather than his mouth or his anger or saying, hey, man, I got a $3 million contract. Why am I on the bench? He didn't say none of that. He allowed soccer to speak for himself. And today, he's the guy that's done the best, most effective product in the final third. So because of that, I feel like against the LA Galaxy, he's going to get point man at the 9. Jordan's going to go to the left. Christian's going to go to the right. Albert Rusnak, who has been injured as well, is going to go to the 10. And maybe that makes this offense look a little bit more cohesive. And therefore, that 2-2 draw I'm telling you about might make you feel pretty good, although it's just a draw. I would be surprised. And I'll tell you, your fan base, everybody here, I'd be surprised if Seattle goes to LA and gets 3 points. It'd be surprising.
Ooh, Robert, what a breakdown, man. I just mic drop it. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
I love
Mic
it.
drop.
No, that's wonderful analysis, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's great because I usually ask the guests, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And the breakdown was so comprehensive. I'm just like, there you go.
Golf clap.
But more on injuries, right? You have a lot of them. So
Yeah.
You have De La Vega, Vargas. You mentioned Leo Chu, Joao Paolo. For you,
He's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are hit. We went through that last year where the Galaxy just got hit everywhere, and
that's what was going through my head when Niko was talking. I was like, oh, this brings me like painful memories of last year when we had none of our DPs playing. But speaking of injuries, Niko, I mean, who do you think is the biggest absentee right now? I mean, for me, it's Joao Paulo and what he creates for you in that midfield. But who do you think, man?
No, you're absolutely right. And that's one of the things where, again, I understand. And actually, I want to clarify to fans that are pressing that panic button that there is a little light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel's pretty long. The tunnel might be, long ways out, but you see the light. And the light is JP should be back at some point. But it's concerning that every time we ask Brian Schmetzer, anytime that we ask the club, they're telling us that there is no timeline for JP. And I agree with you. JP is the biggest absence. Beyond De La Vega and what he could potentially do, beyond Reed Baker-Whiten and what he could provide from the left back position, JP brought balance, brought equilibrium, brought an anchor, brought a player that just did the both sides of the ball type of situation where you knew he was going to be sound defensively, but at times he was going to take the risks and had the caliber, the pedigree to perhaps change a game with a mid-range shot or a good pass, and you don't have that today. Seattle has some quality youngsters, and they do. I love Danny Leyva. I love Obed Vargas. I really like Josh Atencio. I think he's a guy that's on his way to doing excellent things, getting some caps with the U.S. men's national team, youth. I mean, everything about Josh Atencio I like, but there's times where you need elite players, DP players. And in JP, you got a DP talent without a DP contract. And that's what made Seattle so good in CCL. In their CCL run, it was about those type of players. And when he got that big injury in that Pumas game, you knew that they were missing a guy, but they were able to kind of put it all together. Lodero was there. Raul played a good game. Obed Vargas came in. You were able to put it together one game. But when you're talking about a long season and you don't have a guy like JP, that's a hard pill to swallow. And going into this season, I told people, look, I see what the pundits are saying. Seattle, top of the West, potentially. I didn't put them there. as a Seattle guy. I had him as third in the Western Conference because I understood that, yes, did they have the potential to take the West? Sure. But they needed everything to go well. No injuries. Pedro de la Vega to come in and be a game breaker the same way Niko was. No injuries, just killing it. Raul Ruiz perhaps getting his legs back. Jordan Morris getting this found new nature of a killer nine, taking advantage of his speed and all these things. It was a perfect world. And the reality is that in soccer, in MLS, rarely do we get a perfect world. Things are not going to go your way. You got to be ready for injuries. You got to be ready for setbacks. You got to be ready for underperforming. And that's what's going on with Seattle today. And because of that, they're where they are.
Yeah, you pretty much, described Murphy's law of soccer right there, right? Like, we needed all these things to go right, and it all went wrong. I said the word opportunity to you earlier. So for you, is this the best opportunity that, and this one's for you as well, chat, is this the best opportunity for the Galaxy to beat the Sounders since the last time that it happened in 2018?
Oof.
I mean, it has to be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I want to hear chat's take because I believe that. I really do. If you're not beating Seattle right now when they're a little bit in the slumps and they are experimenting, because going into this game, I'm still not sure who's going to play the right wing position. We saw Alex Roldan getting forward in the last game. He's a right back by nature, kind of what he's done in MLS. Maybe he gets to start there. Maybe you put Christian Roldan. I mean, there's so many options right now that I don't even know exactly the 11 that's going to come to it. And on the other side, you have another Galaxy that knows what they're about. They have their identity put together. They know what's working. That front four at least look as cohesive as I've seen LA in a very long time. Even with Zlatan's talent, I feel more fearful today about that LA Galaxy front than I did with Zlatan in front, because I'm a true believer in cohesiveness, structure, and they have it, right? Chemistry, that's all part of the soccer game. And they have that today. So, yes, I believe that if LA is going to beat Seattle, it's going to be in this particular moment where everything is kind of on their side.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple times about Brian Schmetzer, right? About how he's kind of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, right? So, do you feel like if things continue to go the way they're going, do you think he's built up enough capital to stave off any rumors of him losing his job, or do you think he's on the hot seat, or do you think that's a little premature?
Man, that's the $1 million question, man. That's the $1 million question that gets asked over and over again.
I'll take $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know what? I mean, I don't have that. I don't even have $1 million pesos. But I will tell you right now that's a good one, because it has been in the mouth of the fans for a long time. There's been a campaign, a narrative to get Brian out. Do I believe he's in the hot seat? I think it's warm. I don't think it's hot because of what he did last season, getting your team to be in second in the West, whether that was a bad version of the Western Conference or not. That's not his problem. He did his job. He put him in the playoffs. He did what he had to do. But I do think it's warm. And I think that cushion that he built by getting that CCL, the biggest trophy in franchise history, is lowered. That leash has lessened. And I really do believe that if he cannot get a result in LA and he has a really tough 6-game stretch going on here on out, if he cannot pull some results, that seat is going to go from warm to very hot quickly. because the fan base here has an expectation that has been brought by his own success, right? And I
Exactly.
already said the numbers. I don't need to repeat them, but
Yeah.
that's his success. And he's going to be judged on that high bar. So because of that, I do believe that the seat is warm right now. It's not hot because of the circumstances, the injuries, the problems. Everybody understands that. But at some point, you're going to have to face the music. You're going to have to face the numbers. And if you're not pulling results, that's just gonna get hot.
Rob, I wanna respond to this question or this comment really quick about the earlier point. And I agree with Andrew on this one. And this is the one thing, Niko. This is the one hope I think that you guys have, which is we've been calling it amongst our fan base that this is a trap game. This is a bogey game. This is another bogey team. We finally, I mean, we were 2-0 down against SKC, who
Yeah,
is another huge bogey team for us,
yeah.
especially Vanny against Vermees. And he hasn't had as much luck lately against Schmetzer as well. But so this thing about overconfidence, I think that really is the thing that we will, if we lose this game or if we don't win this game, it's going to be a product of our own demise. And I think we will be shooting ourselves in the foot. I think that's the only way I see that happening. But this is a really important point, and I think this is just a product of all the trauma for us Galaxy fans in the
Yeah.
last 10 years. So really good point there brought up by Andrew.
No, it's a great point because I'm giving you my thought process, and I tend to be either called a realist or a pessimist on the Pacific Northwest in today's day and age. Jeremiah Oshan, who obviously is the editor of Sounder Hard, he's the main man. He believes that this is the game that Seattle can win, and I understand it. I get it. Kind of what you mentioned in terms of being this a catch game. There are areas that Seattle can exploit in terms of this LA Galaxy team. But at the end of the day, whether it's a catch game or not, if your product, if your talent is there, I feel like the LA Galaxy just have the advantage, whether it's because they're at home or because they just have the more talented team right now in this particular moment in time. So yeah, I mean, I get the catch game phrase, I get it. But at the end of the day, that you can say that about every other game, right?
Yeah.
Every other team that's not doing well, and you're like, this is the catch game. And it's interesting because you don't usually hear Seattle be named as a catch game because we're usually top of the West, top of the line. So that alone tells you where Seattle is right now.
Yeah.
I'm still scared because the Seattle's always been the Galaxy's bogey team. I mean, there was a period where the Galaxy would go to Seattle in the playoffs and in advance, and it happened for a couple years, and then ever since then it's just been all Seattle. But right now you mentioned that the Galaxy front four is on fire. They're connected. They know where they're playing. But would you take anybody in Seattle's front four and replace them with the Galaxy's front four?
Man, you put me in a tough position because I would take just about that entire front four right now, right? Because we're not healthy. I don't really know what De La Vega will do. I have a sense, and I've talked to Zielinski, his coach. I've talked to guys who have known him from Lanús and tell me about his potential. But if you tell me today, would I take Riqui Puig or De La Vega? I'm going to take Riqui. And same goes for that right side. I love what Christian Roldan does and his dual abilities to defend and attack. But I've seen pencil, and what he does is amazing. And when you have a guy that can break lines and be a game breaker, I'm going to take him every time. So you're asking me a bad question because I would take just about every guy other than maybe Raul Ruidiaz that I believe that with those type of wingers and that type of pen and creative player behind him, he would do wonders. I would take three of those guys today. including Gabriel Peck over Jordan Morris. He's younger. He has potential. I've seen him do wonderful things with Brazil. I followed his career. I know his projection. So yeah, that's tough. I would take just about every single one person except for maybe Joveljic, who's been amazing, by the way. 5 games, 5 goals. I mean, he's been great.
Right.
I love his hunger. I love his demeanor. I like his movement, the ability he has to just read the game. I mean, in that last game against Sporting Kansas City, you're down to 0, but I'm watching that game here maybe midnight because everybody's sleeping in my house and I could watch 90 minutes without kids or wife or anybody. And Joveljic gets, I think, two goals called back. I mean, he was just, you could tell he had it in him. He just knew where he had to be. Was he maybe a step over, a step under? Sure. But he just knew where he had to be. That chemistry. I mean, I just think he has that sense of goal that you don't have. But I would still take Raul because I love his potential. I love his drive. I love his hunger. I've seen him do it. I've been there, done that type of mentality. So that's the one guy. Everybody else, I'll probably take from the LA Galaxy.
Yeah, but hey, on form though, Niko, you talked about Matador earlier. On form, Jan Joveljic looks like a Matador right now. He looks like all those characteristics, the hunger, the desire, even missing goals. Like he on based off of form, you could argue, but that's a tough one though, for sure. But
hey, look,
man,
Greg Vanney knows a lot more than Niko Moreno. I think right now, right? I mean, Greg Vanney, he's done a lot more. He's way more qualified to tell you what a 9 is, and to me, being external to you guys in the everyday following the team, when Greg Vanney didn't want a 9, or he didn't ask for a 9, or the GMs didn't want a 9, I was like, you know what, Joel is he's been showing what he could potentially do. He didn't have a great season last year, and you saw Judd come in, do some things when Joveljic couldn't, but you could tell that he was hungry, that he knew where to be, that he had that soccer IQ in that final third. So because of that, I mean, I got to give Ray Vanny the, tip of the hat. I mean, he definitely saw something that is reflecting in goals now that obviously he knew that I didn't. So good for him.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Vanny knows a little bit more than all 3 of us. But that's why he's making the big bucks.
That's right.
But Ananda, you know what? We've spoken a lot about the opportunity that the Galaxy have. But you know what? We need some hard numbers to back that up with, right? And since you're our stats guy, go ahead and take it away on these stats, bro.
Okay, guys. I mean, we Niko has really touched on a lot of this too, but this is just kind of breaking down really the sort of the finer details going into this match. I mean, guys, we talked about the potency. I mean, Niko's or per his interview with Stefan Fry, I mean, he's called the Galaxy's front four is the most potent front four in the league. And these stats show it, right? You look at goals per match, the Galaxy is number 1 in the league at 2.4. Seattle Sounders at 1 goal a match. That's 25th in the league. Expected goals, so looking at the underlying stats, LA Galaxy is at 11.5. They are number 1 in the league across the first 5 games. Look at Seattle, guys, 5.6 only, and that's less than 50% of the production that LA's attack is putting right now. Again, as Niko put it, a lot of it has to do with the injury. So from an LA Galaxy perspective, that's something for us to definitely capitalize on, and something for the defense just to keep an eye on, not to have that sort of expected goals number increase. And you look at big chances. I mean, guys, we're leading the league even more than Inter Miami in big chances. We have 23. But the interesting thing is we've missed 14 of them, right? So we tend to miss chances quite a bit, and that's something that's an Achilles heel for us, and something for us to watch out. And then you look at the defense, and now when I think of Seattle, I always think of them as a solid defensive team, always a solid defensive unit. And the numbers are okay. I mean, if you look at LA Galaxy, we have an XGC of 7.5, but we've underperformed and given up 9 goals. A lot of that has to do with set pieces, which we might talk about in a little bit, because that's been our Achilles heel, is set piece defending. if you look at Seattle, they are on par. So they've given up an XGC of 6, which is in the middle of the pack, and they've given up 6 goals this year. So they've been performing to their standard. And I think for me, the surprising thing is, or one thing that we have to sort of break down is that Seattle defense that we know that historically has been doing well. Even this year, you know, they haven't been doing that bad. It's not an elite defense. But it's middle of the road, and I think it's good enough at least to win points. The problem is, obviously, as Niko pointed out, it's the offense, right? It's definitely offensively. And then the last thing too, this is a really interesting stat that so shout out Profe Alex. He put this up earlier today. So Dejan Jovic, if you talked about the Matador, he has an XG of 5.6. So he has more XG, guys, than 10 MLS teams have throughout 5 match days. And, you know, for all those teams listed right there. So he's got to be a danger man. I mean, do you think he's the danger man for you, Niko, or is there someone else on LA that you think that you know that's the true danger man for LA here?
Oh, and then follow that up with who needs to go off for Seattle to be dangerous.
Who needs to do what?
Who needs to go off for Seattle? Like, who needs to be in top 4 for Seattle?
Yeah, so like I said, I really do think that the whole entire the whole entire front 4 can expose holes that we saw last game against San Jose, a poor version of San Jose. So that's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, whether it's Pencil exploding the spaces that Nuhu gives when he gets too far forward and there's nowhere to cover there, whether it's Riqui pushing beyond a young, unexperienced midfield that he's going to find those half spaces in between the back 4 and the midfield, whether it's Jovic just understanding how he's going to play a center back duo that in Reagan, who's coming from his worst game, can exploit those problems. Everyone can do it, whether it's Peck or Fagundes on the left side. When Fagundes plays, you guys are just going to play a little bit more inside with Fagundes. Peck's going to be more of I'm going to stretch out that defense. Right. There's just a lot of things you guys can do. In terms of Seattle, it's going to have to be Jordan Morris going back to his left wing prime and Seattle stretching that offense. And if Jordan is the first guy when that counter press works for Seattle and that first pass goes to Jordan and him having the ability to get to the final line and get a dangerous cross in, or maybe cutting inside and using that right foot, that's his privileged foot. All of those things have to go off. And Raul Ruiz, whether it's his link-up play, his hold-up play, or his finishing skills, he's going to have to be on for Seattle to have any sort of chance. If Raul is not on, Seattle is not scoring goals. Sign that for me. If Raul is not on point, in form, Seattle's not getting close to this game. It's that simple. So whether Rusnak gets him enough services, whether Christian plays out wide and gets him enough services, it's going to be up to Raul putting the ball in the back of the net, because this team has only have one goal when it comes to on-field play this season, and it was Danny Masowski. So if they cannot do that consistently, they're not going to be anywhere in this game, because LA Galaxy have goals in their clip. For days, they have the ability to score goals. Not once in the Sporting Kansas City game did I think, man, is the LA guys going to be able to score 2 goals? You knew that they had it. They had it in their back pocket. They had that talent. Seattle doesn't have that. They're going to have to get rhythm. They're going to have to get going. And that's going to be up to that front 4 as well. So Jordan, Raul Ruiz, Albert Rusnak, Christian Roldan, can they do it? Can they match that quality? We'll see that this weekend.
You know, you said a name in there that kind of gives me pause, which is Danny Musovski. Last year, he gave the Galaxy fits when he was with Real Salt Lake, and he scored and assisted, I think, against the Galaxy last year. So that one is one to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
fact of the matter is Seattle always plays the Galaxy really, really hard. So I mean, you're saying these names like Rui Diaz and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm remembering like all these goals that he scored on the Galaxy, and I'm just shuddering. But Galaxy fans, take heart, because like we've been saying, it is the opportunity, it is the moment for the Galaxy to go out and finally get their victory over Seattle. Galaxy is on the up right now. There's no further proof than MLS co-signing them right now. They've moved them up to 4th in the MLS rankings. And something that I thought I would never see, Seattle is ranked 25th. They're not on the power rankings graphic even right now. And like I said, it's something that I thought I would never see. We will get to predictions here in a second, even though you already gave us your prediction. We're gonna get it from you again to see if anything that we've said here tonight has changed your opinion. But Anand, you have some betting odds for those that want to lose a little money in Vegas, right?
I do. So you guys, as always, these betting odds are from SofaScore. Please bet responsibly, of course. So odds here are so LA Galaxy is at a 52%. That's in -110, so 52% chance of winning. And Seattle is at a +300 at 25% chance. Again, this is an LA Galaxy home game at Dignity Health Sports Park. The bookies are not giving Seattle much of a shot, and neither is Niko, because he's shaking his head right now, unless they do a couple of and they have to be nearly perfect essentially, and Raul Diaz has to go off. So yeah, those are the betting odds, guys. And it's interesting too, just even on that Rui Diaz point. We are going to get back Martin Cáceres. He did have a red card last game, so that is a lineup thing that we'll be happy to have him back to partner Maya Yoshida. Arrested, exactly, as well. So, Rob, is it time for predictions?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll go ahead and get you first, and then get Niko. Niko did say he was calling a 2-2 tie. We'll give him another opportunity to say whether he's going to stand on business, like the kids say, on that one. But chat, let us know what you think. Your prediction is for this game. Will the Galaxy finally get a win over Seattle, or are they dropping their first game of the season? Ananda, what say you?
What say me? Okay, so I think I'm just going to say the prediction real quick. I actually think Rob and Niko, the Galaxy, are going to get their first clean sheet of the season. And I think it's going to be a pretty comprehensive 2-0 win. I mean, I looked at the numbers and again, just Seattle's attacking. Again, this is highly dependent on the formation that Seattle plays. I think Niko broke that down extremely well, expertly well. And that's because if I think about Jordan Morris on that left-hand side, that smells trouble for me. Yamane's been a really good defender. That's the J-League defender that we brought this year, Niko, to partner Yoshida on the right side. He's been very good, but against speed, that right-hand side does tend to struggle. So that is the one worry for me. But, I've seen a lot of defensive determination this season, even though we've given up a lot of goals. Guys, just really quick on those goals. 5 of the 9 goals that LA Galaxy have given up has been on set pieces. So that's been our Achilles heel. That's one of the things, Robert, that I'm going to look at for the LA Galaxy is our set piece defending. Have we learned from that? We've given up really sloppy goals and let teams back in with set piece defending. So that's one for us to watch out for. But I want to bring up something that Christian Miles brought up a couple of weeks ago, Robert, or a couple of episodes ago. And I think this is going to come to fruition this game, which is I want to see a complete 90-minute game. And I think it's going to happen on this one. Just of all the forces that are going for the LA Galaxy and against Seattle, they are going to get this first clean sheet. And I think it's going to be a 2-0 win. And Decky is going to make history and go 6 for 6.
Well, he's gonna tie history.
Yeah, he's in tie history. Yeah.
Moreno. But Andrew agrees with you. He's calling a 2-0 just like you, and just like in the USA game over Mexico, he says. Yeah, and then Kickleball Pod just quite simply said Tucker Leppley. Yes, I agree with the sentiment. I don't know what the sentiment is, but Tucker Leppley indeed, super nice guy. Raul Garcia says 3-1 Gs. Don Niko, you called a 2-2 tie. Are you sticking with that?
Yeah, I'm sticking with it, man. I've thought about it. I've multiplied it, long division, fractioned it, and at the end of the day, I believe that the best case scenario for Seattle is that they'll get a draw because they're moving on from this 4-4-2. And again, they're going to be putting players where I believe they're more successful. I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. And I think that they'll play their best game of the season, but still won't have enough to stop, contain, minimize the talent that the LA Galaxy have up front. Because of that, I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw. I think that you guys talked about set pieces. Danny Leyva is a guy that against San Jose showed us that he could really bring a different factor in when he came to set pieces. But because Obed Vargas, a player that was in concussion protocol, might come back, I feel like Brian's going to go back to Obed. It's not going to allow Danny Leyva to have another game. And he's going to go back to the Josh Atencio, Danny Leyva situation. And that just minimizes our set piece ability because nobody in this current roster has a better foot on set pieces than Danny Leyva, unfortunately, and therefore we won't be able to exploit that. You saw him put a beautiful corner kick ball on the 6 for Yemer Gomez Andrade that he just didn't put away because it was his first game back, first start of the season. You saw him put a beautiful ball into Jordan Morris into the 18 that was not finalized. It was not finished. So because he won't be there, I feel like Seattle won't even have that possibility of being better in set pieces. And that just gives me even more of a substance to tell you guys that if Seattle's lucky, they'll get a draw in LA.
Well,
what say you, Robert?
I hate to disagree with both of you, but I'm calling a 2. I'm calling a 2-1. I don't think the Galaxy get that clean sheet that they're still looking for. There's just too many things we talked about earlier. Too many things that have to go right, and the Galaxy haven't shown the ability to play that full 90 minutes that Christian Miles talked about. And so I think at one point, yeah, they'll probably shoot themselves in the foot. They'll probably, make a mistake somewhere, give the ball away somewhere, and then the quality is there for Seattle to go ahead and finish off their chance. But I'm still calling a win. I think the Galaxy crowd being at home, the sense of optimism right now is gonna push the Galaxy over the edge. And you know what? It's that first win over Seattle in almost a decade, and we're celebrating, right? So, well, some of us, not Niko, but he might be celebrating the fact that he was right, or that he called a lot of things that we actually see in this game.
Yeah.
So well, that's what it is, boys. After this tough Seattle match, the Galaxy will play LAFC in another tough match for them. Another El Tráfico at BMO Stadium. That'll be Saturday, April 6th at 4:30 p.m. We'll have Justin Ruderman of MLS.com be our special guest next week. That preview on April 4th at 9 p.m. But before we go, we want to say a special thank you to our guest for this evening, Don Niko Moreno. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros y pasar un tiempo y decirnos en detalle qué es lo que le pasa a este equipo de Seattle and just why they're not playing to their Seattle dumb, I guess, just being the Seattle that we know and fear and the league is respect. So thank you so much, Niko. We appreciate you dropping by, man.
No, parcerito, es un placer estar con ustedes. Me encanta que dos personas que están representando nuestra gente, que están dándole la información a la gente, bring me on, allow me to join your show. I really appreciate it. Hope it's not the last time. I know there's another LA Galaxy game I hope that I'm back. I saw that
We'll
six
see you.
game stretch. In that sixth game, I saw the LA Galaxy. So hopefully we get to talk again. We get to come in, maybe make fun of whether I didn't do good or I did do good on my predictions. But all in all, just very thankful that you guys brought me on your show. And,
Thanks for
we
being here.
keep this connection, this Latino community on together, man. Hope your audience enjoys my takes. Hope they enjoy my time here with you guys. Thank you, man. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, un placer. Un placer.
Yeah, no, no, como tú dices, hay que representar a nuestra comunidad latina because it's huge in MLS,
Yeah.
and it's gonna keep growing. So we thank you. Ya sabes de dónde vivimos. Just hit us up. Just hit us up. I want to come by and say something, and we got you, man. So it was a pleasure connecting. Thank you so much for being on, and man, I can't wait to do it again. Ananda, anything else to add before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Just un placer again, Niko, and thank you for dropping by. And I'm sure we'll be texting each other after whatever happens, right? In terms of if we get the bragging rights or if we shoot ourselves in the foot because we are the LA Galaxy. But maybe this year is a different year. But no, Robert, I'm gonna turn it back to you, and I think you
And
only
if you
got one
guys are
thing
in
left to say.
town, man, I'll pick you guys in the airport. Beers are on me. I'll take you to the beautiful
There you go.
waterfront here in Seattle. You let me know. I got you, man. You could ask, man. I'm a good host.
Awesome.
I actually love Seattle as a town. Me and my wife, when we get a chance to get away and we don't have a lot of time. I mean, Seattle's a lovely place to go for 2 or 3 days. And I mean, she's even brought up, should we move to Seattle? And like I've been like, I love Los Angeles, so I don't think I can. But she has brought it up. And we will take you up on that. If we are there in Seattle, we are gonna take you up on that. And then of course, go have some wonderful food with you. Man, it's just been real. Thank you so much, guys. Lacuna Galaxians, LA Galaxy fans, you know what it is. You know where to find us at YouTube at Lacuna Galaxiana. We will be here with the match reaction, seeing if Niko was right, if we were right. That'll be going down on Monday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. So of course, come hang with your two favorite fools, me and Ananda. That'll be at 9 p.m. on April Fool's Day. And of course, go ahead and find us on all socials. We'll be there anyway, bugging you and reminding you of the show and stuff like that. And thank you so much for always hanging with us and listening to these two fools do what we do. Thank you, Niko, once
chat.
more. And you know what? Let's have a fun game against Seattle. Till next time, only one thing left to say. G